Hello, my dear students. Hope you guys are all doing good. I welcome each and every one of you for the CA Inter GST classes. So, those who are not familiar with me, let me take few minutes to give a brief introduction about myself. Myself, Mahamood Sheikh. I'm a chartered accountant and also I'm a cost accountant. And I hold two All India ranks at CA and CMA levels. And I'm currently a practicing professional. I practice the profession of chartered accountancy. Along with that, from the last few years, I have been exploring my biggest passion, which is teaching. And from the last few years, I have been successfully doing it. I have been teaching the CA and CMA students for a while now. And along with that, as I have told, I also practice my profession of chartered accountancy. And before taking up this teaching and practice, I worked with the corporates. I had a very good corporate exposure. I worked with the MNCs of this country. And then I started exploring other opportunities and I have taken up and I have chosen this practice and also teaching as my career. And I'm going to be the one who is going to take care of this GST lectures for you. So having said this, let us first understand the nature of this subject. What is this subject? What is the nature of this subject? What are the characteristics of this subject? Why we have to learn this subject? Let us have a quick look at it. So as you all are aware, or if you are not aware, let me inform you. So this particular subject, GST, is not a separate subject in itself. It is not a separate paper in itself. So at your CA inter level, as a part of your group 1, there is paper number 4. Which paper? Paper number 4, which we call it as, or which goes by the name taxation. Which goes by the name what? Taxation. So group 1 of CA inter, paper number 4, which goes by the title taxation. And in this taxation is comprised of two parts. The subject taxation is comprised of two parts. One is direct taxes and the other one is IDT, indirect taxes. And our GST will form part of this indirect taxes, which constitute for 40 marks in the examination. So our GST constitute 40% of the weightage of paper 4. So I am not going to take care of 100 marks of this entire paper. I am going to take care of only 40% of the taxation syllabus. That 40% of the taxation syllabus, which is dealing with indirect taxation, that is what I am going to take up. The remaining 60%, as you all are aware, which is related to direct taxation, that will be taken care by another faculty. So my scope is going to be about this 40 marks in this paper 4. Very simple concepts, very simple syllabus, very easy one, easy scoring subject, easy scoring topics. So that is what will be my agenda. So I'm going to cover this 40 marks of this paper number 4, taxation. But before we talk about specifically this GST and our subject, let us talk about taxation. So as a chartered accountant, taxation is very important for us. Taxation is very much important for our career. It is one of the significant subject which we are learning as a part of our curriculum. So now, why are we learning about taxes? Why taxation is a of expertise for the chartered accountant? So you might have heard why you have chosen this CA as a career. Why you have chosen this CA as a career? Or you might have come into this course, you have taken up this CA course definitely to make money, not for the charity. So we chartered accountants, we provide some services to the society and make a living out of it. No, that's why we are doing this CA course. We are not doing it for charity. We are not doing it for time pass. We are spending a lot of hard work. We are spending a lot of time and energy. We are sacrificing a lot of our time and spending this much amount of effort in getting that one degree called CA. And definitely we are doing that. We are putting all this time and effort in order to make a living out of this career. So definitely after qualification, once we get that CA final, we will be providing some services to the society and make a living out of it. So you are also well aware of it. To make a living out of this profession, you have joined this course. There is no doubt about it. But what do you think a chartered accountant will do for the society? if you have to make a living out of one particular profession, you have to render some services to the society. So what kind of services do you think a chartered accountant will render to the society to make a living in the society? So you might have heard till now, or if you have already, you might have heard from your friends, you might have heard from your family, when a person will suggest another person to go and consult a chartered accountant. When a need arises for an individual to go and consult a chartered accountant, you might have heard till now, people will generally say, if you have any tax issues, if you receive any notice from the tax departments, if you want to save your taxes, if you want to make your tax compliances, if you don't want to get stuck in the tax litigations, or if you are already stuck in the tax litigations, to get out of it, this is where the chartered accountant will become useful. This is what the chartered accountants will provide the services. This is what you might have heard till now. So a person will suggest another person to go and consult a chartered accountant whenever he wants to get some work done regarding taxation. This is what you might have heard. So if you ask some 10 people, what does a chartered accountant do? Or if you ask some 10 people why you need to go to a chartered accountant, out of that 6 people will easily say, if you have any tax issue, or if you want to sort out your tax issues, go and consult a chartered accountant. So one thing is for sure, after becoming a chartered accountant, we are going to provide services in the area of taxation. We are going to provide services in the area of the taxation to our clients, and by providing those taxation services, we are going to make a living out of it. So taxation is a bread earner for a chartered accountant. You can say that. I'm not saying taxation is the only area of practice for a chartered accountant. I don't say it. But taxation is one of the important area of practice for a chartered accountant. So this subject, taxation, you have to learn it. Not just you have to learn it from the theoretical perspective. So you are just mugging up the provisions, you are mugging up the taxes, you are mugging up some sections of the act. No, that is not what your focus should be when you are learning taxation. Try to understand the concepts practically. Try to learn everything practically. Try to learn that interpretation. Why? Because once you qualify this particular chartered accountancy course in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day work life, either in your practice or in your job, you have to apply whatever you are learning from this taxation. Understood, everybody? And our prime focus for this classes is also going to be that. So we are not going to make you mug up some sections. We are not going to mug up. We are not going to just teach the things which are there in the material, but we want to give a overall practical approach to the subject called taxation. At the same time, we are not going away from examination requirements. We will try to take both hand in hand. So this course is going to completely satisfy all your examination requirements. At the same time, we will make sure that you are learning things in such a manner so that you will use them practically later. That is what going to be the prime focus for our subject. So as I have told, our GST is forming part of paper number 4, taxation, in which DT component is there, which is contributing for 60% of the marks. The other 40% of the marks is getting contributed by IDT, and in that IDT we are going to learn something called GST. So now, what are the differences between direct taxation and indirect taxation? This we will talk about it later. Sir, what are the differences between DT, IDT? This point I will come to it in a short while. But let me give you a few examples. See, as a part of direct taxation, the direct taxation which we have in our country is income tax. So this income tax, you will learn it as a part of your DT. But when it comes to IDT, indirect taxes, now as per current norms, as per the current regulations, we have 3 kinds of indirect taxes currently operating in India. So 3 kinds of indirect taxes are, number 1 is GST, number 2 is customs, and number 3 is FTP. So these are the 3 kinds of indirect taxes which are currently there in our country. Customs and FTP, this we will talk about it later. Customs and FTP, this will be discussed later at the CA final level. So our at CA inter level, our prime focus of IDT is GST, or not prime focus, our only focus is what? GST. And we are not even going to learn the entire GST also. GST in itself is a very big law. GST Act is a very big law. So we have a total of 174 sections, so many rules related to it, so many notifications, so many circulars. So GST is a very vast subject. But we are not going to cover all that 174 section, all that rules, all that circulars, all that notifications. We are not going to cover at the CA inter level. At the CA inter level, our scope is very much limited. We are going to learn a very few sections of the GST that is at our CA inter level. So we are going to have a very limited discussion regarding GST. Full-fledged discussion regarding GST will be there at the CA final. At the CA final level, this indirect taxes is altogether a different subject. There are 100 marks. There we will learn the entire concept regarding GST. But at the CA inter level, hardly we are going to have a very limited discussion. We are going to restrict our discussion at a very small perspective. So we are going to learn a very few basic provisions of the GST at the CA inter level. Understood, everybody? Now, coming to the next point. So since I have told you what is the nature of this subject, now let me talk about the sources which we are going to provide to you. What is the source? What are the sources which we are going to provide for you through these sessions? So one thing, we are going to give you top quality of video lectures. So you are going to get a comprehensive lecture. So we are going to cover each and everything which is going to be relevant for your examination. We are not going to leave each sentence from the material. We are not going to leave even one single sentence from the study material, ICI study material. So why? Because ICI study material is the only thing which is relevant for your exam. Whatever questions you are going to get, that you are going to get it only from ICI study material. And we have made sure that through these lectures, we will try to cover whatever thing, each and everything which is relevant for the examination will be covered. And these video lectures are going to be so comprehensive that you will not have to look at any other source after watching these video lectures. That we will make sure. And also I will make sure that once you watch the lectures from us, you will not even have a second thought to watch somebody else's lecture. So such a comprehensive understanding we are going to offer through these video lectures. And one more thing, what you will get from this course is you will get one material. You will get one GST material which has been prepared by myself. And let me give you a glimpse of that GST material also. So this is what the GST material is. It is containing a total of 315 pages. This material is also a comprehensive source which contains each and every sentence which will be relevant for your examination. No extra content which is not relevant for your exams has been added, and nothing which is relevant for your exam has been taken out from this material. We have made sure that not the thing which is not related for your exam, we have not added it in this material, and anything which is related for your for your exam, we have not taken out anything from this material. So this material is going to be a one-stop solution, one comprehensive source for all your exam needs. Now, what else you will get it from this? One more thing, what you will get is, see, we have this much amount of textbook, but at the time of explanation, we will try to do a lot of visualization. We will try to summarize so many concepts in the form of diagrams. We will give so many charts. We will sometimes give you examples, so that everything I will be sharing with you. Relating to each class, whatever charts which I will be drawing, whatever class notes I am writing it here. So like this, I will use a sheet here. I will be writing all the notes here. I will be writing all the examples. We will be writing all the charts here. You need not write anything. You need not write anything. Just pay full attention on the classes. Concentrate on whatever I am saying. This notes will be shared with you. Everything will be shared with you. Whatever I write in the classroom, everything will be made available to you. No need to write anything. Just pay complete focus. Start understanding the provisions. Enjoy the class. Just I want you to enjoy the class, be involved in the class fully, and we will make sure that each and everything is reaching to you. Now, there is one point which I want to mention here specifically. See, when it comes to taxation subject, especially at the CA levels, the so-called popular things which we have in the markets is chart books. I will tell you, there is a problem with this chart books. See, chart books are helpful for revision, but you should not rely only on the chart books. I will say it with so much of confidence. I don't have any shame on saying it. So reading the chart books is not going to be useful. It might just help you for revision, but there are a few students who will use only chart books or so-called mnemonics, etc., blah blah blah. All these things you will rely on all these things in order to learn the subject. That is not a correct thing. Why? Because you all know what is the today's examination pattern, especially at the CA inter level. You know the examination pattern, and examination pattern has gone so much of changes over a period of time. Earlier, what used to happen is the examination pattern used to be you have to mug up a few things, direct questions will be tested. So mug up the content, reproduce the content, you will get the full marks in the examination. But that is not how the today's exam is. Today, the exam standards have developed a lot. Today, they are testing practical application. They are not expecting you to mug up the contents. They are expecting you how far you can apply the concepts which you have read in the scenarios. And one more important feature of this CA exams is MCQs. You all know today MCQs are getting tested even in the area of taxation also. And in order to answer these MCQs, chart books will never help you out. Chart books will never help you out for answering the MCQs. We don't know MCQs from which nook and corner of the study material they will ask it. So keeping these kind of standards in the today's examination, if I still tell you completely rely on chart book, I will provide you the chart book, you can completely rely on it. So that's not going to be the correct thing. I'm not saying I will not share any kind of charts with you. As I have told, whatever lectures we are delivering as a part of our lectures, I will try to summarize a lot of discussion that will be shared with you. Don't worry, all the class notes, all the charts which I use in the class, that I will share it with you. But the only thing which I want to say here is, don't exclusively rely on the chart books. Don't exclusively rely on the mnemonics. So try to get the conceptual clarity. That will help you out in the examination. And especially keeping in mind the today's standards, today's examination standards, which wants you, which expects you to have practical application, and you can do the practical application only when you have good conceptual clarity. So make sure that you are not relying, so don't get carried away by someone else is saying if you rely on the chat books, that alone will be helpful. If you rely some mnemonics, that alone will be helpful. That is not going to work out, guys. Please change your thought process. So we are going to concentrate on conceptual clarity completely. And I can say it with accuracy. I can say it with a lot of confidence that just rely on this material. This one comprehensive source will be enough. This one comprehensive source will be enough. And along with that, even you can make use of whatever class notes which I'll be sharing with you every day, whatever examples we write, whatever summarizations we do, whatever summaries we do. So all that things will be shared with you that you can rely. That is one more thing which you can do. So these are the resources from our side. We will provide you with all the video lectures. We'll provide you with the GST main material. Along with that, all the class notes will be shared with you. Understood? So these are the sources which will be provided from us. And whenever the matter regarding taxation is discussed, you will all have one thing which will be continuously going on in your mind. Especially when we talk about taxation subject, there is one thing which will always be scaring you. What is that thing which is scaring you? Amendments. What is the thing which will be scaring you, guys? Amendments. You put a lot of focus on amendments here. I have seen a lot of students, they put a lot of emphasis on amendments. But don't worry, we have got you covered. So this material, whatever we have prepared, this is updated with all the study material, supplementary paper, and all that statutory updates, whatever have been released till date. So I have prepared this material in the month of April. So till the month of April, whatever ICI resources are available, be it study material, be it supplementary material, be it statutory update, each and everything has been covered in the material. If at all, till the time you appear for the November 23 examination, see these lectures we are recording exclusively for November 23 and further attempts. So this particular recordings which you are seeing, these are relevant for November 23 attempt onwards. So whatever ICA resources are there till date, till this April, all has been covered. If at all, if any amendments comes, generally they might not come. If at all, if something is clarified through the RTPs, don't worry about it. We will even share that amendments lectures also with you. Materials, amendment lectures, everything will be shared with you. Don't worry about it. So we have got you covered. So don't worry about amendments at all. So if you understand the main concept, no, amendments is nothing. If you have good clarity of the main provisions, amendments are nothing here. But why students get so much stressed about amendments is you put a lot of emphasis on it. You try to give a lot of weightage for these amendments, but no need. If you got the main provision clear, amendment is nothing. And don't worry, we will not leave you. We have all got you covered. All the amendments will be covered with you. If at all for this November attempt, if any extra amendments, extra notification, extra circulars that will be shared with you, that if ICAI announces, we will cover you with that also. But one thing you should know, sir, amendments means up to what date amendments we have to be updated about. See, as per the ICAI, whatever amendments which are given before 6 months of your attempt, they will be applicable for you. Whatever amendments which are released regarding taxation within that 6 months of the examination, you need not be worried about it. So whatever amendments which are given till 6 months before the examination, only those amendments will be tested in your attempt. Whatever amendments that have taken place within the 6 months of the examination, that will not be applicable for you. So let me illustrate it here. November 2023, if you are giving your attempt for November 2023, 6 months before this attempt, which will be somewhere around April 30. So whatever amendments which have taken place till April 30, those only will be applicable for the November 2023 examination. Whatever amendments, be it notification circulars, whatever it is, if any amendment has taken place between this May 1st till November 2023, these amendments will not be tested for your examination. So as per the ICAI, whatever amendments which have taken place 6 months before the examination date, those amendments will be tested in the examination. Assume if you are writing the examination for May 2024, see, these recordings will be relevant even for May 2024 also. Sir, what about amendments? Don't worry. For May 2024 till September, not September, till October, till 31st of October, whatever amendments have come, they will be relevant for May 2024 examination. I am talking about 31st of October 2023. So if at all any amendments are there till 31st of October 2023, and if you have bought these lectures for May 2024 attempt, don't worry. Whatever amendments that will be applicable for your examination, that also we will provide you with the materials, that also will provide you with the notes, that also we will provide you with the lectures. Don't worry about it. So no second thought about materials. We have all got you covered. Understood, everybody? So this is what regarding amendments. This is what the sources which we will be sharing with you. Understood, everybody? So till now we had understood about the nature of the subject. So what are the sources which we are going to offer from our side, and what about the amendments? So these are the few things which are going to be assurance from our side. And one more thing, our lectures are going to be in complete English. So don't worry about it. So we are going to use very simple English, very easy English, which a normal 6th standard student can understand. Such a simple language we are going to make use of it. So you need not worry about it. So all the lectures are going to be completely in English. So these are the few things which I thought of sharing before I start the session. Understood? And there are few instructions which you need to follow while you are attending for this class. There are few instructions which I would say which you are supposed to follow for our mutual benefit. Number one, please pay complete attention in the class. See, GST is for 40 marks only, but the subject is very, very easy. If you pay enough of attention in the classroom, if you pay attention to the concepts which I am explaining, if you are completely focused in the classroom, your one revision will happen in the class itself. One level of preparation and one revision will happen in the classroom itself. So please make sure that you are paying complete attention. Number two, I will be doing multiple revisions. After I complete one particular concept, I will be doing revision. I will be summarizing. Don't skip it. Don't skip that discussion and proceed with the next lecture. Don't fast forward it. So there is a logic why I am doing revision. I am doing revision for your sake. I am doing revision for your sake. The more you revise, the more you will remember the concepts. So don't skip the revision. Don't skip the revision part. After completion of every important topic, I will spend some 5 minutes, 10 minutes of time in summarizing or revising the entire content. Don't skip that part. Please go through that part also. And when I am doing revision, you don't just stare. You also try to participate. Be honest to yourself. You need not be honest to anybody else. Please be honest to yourself when you are attending the class. It is you who has paid the money for listening to the classes. So please try to reap the benefits out of this class. Okay, so these two instructions you have to follow. Number one, please try to pay complete attention when listening to the classes. Number two, as I have told, you need to maintain complete focus here. And whenever I'm doing revision, you have to participate in the revision. Number three, when I'm solving the problems, once we are done with the concept, when you are doing some problems at some particular places, I will give you some time to solve it by yourself. I will solve whatever questions are there, that I will solve. Don't worry about it. But before I solve the question, I will give you time to solve. It is your responsibility to solve. Don't waste the time there. So anyhow, sir will explain. Anyhow, sir will explain the illustration. Anyhow, sir will give the answer. So don't waste your time. Don't be lazy. When I'm asking you, you solve it first. Then I will explain. Please do solve it. Please don't be lazy. Please don't completely rely on my explanation of the answer. Why? Because in the examination, the question will always be new, particularly in the taxation. The question will always be new. And in every question, there will be some minute details which you might miss out. So if you want to avoid that problem of missing out on minute details and giving wrong answers, so what you should develop the habit is, whenever I am teaching the problems, I will give you some time to read it on your own and try to find out the answer. I will be giving you some time. It is your responsibility to answer it. Understood, everybody? So don't completely rely on me, especially when I'm teaching questions and answers. I will give you time. Please utilize it and you will try to solve it on your own. Then cross check whatever explanation, whatever solution I am saying, whatever explanation, whatever answer which you have got, whether both are matching or not, that you try to solve it later. Understood, everybody? So these are the few instructions which I thought of giving before we are starting the class. Now we will go into the subject. Now we are going to go into this subject now. So what is the title of our subject, guys? The title of the subject is GST. What is the full form of GST? The full form of GST is Goods and Services Tax. What is the full form of the GST? Full form of the GST is Goods and Services Tax. So it is a kind of tax. GST is a kind of tax which is levied or which is imposed. So before we understand what is this goods and services tax, first let us try to understand what is tax. So tax is a non-voluntary payment. Tax is a what? Non-voluntary payment. Non-voluntary means what? Voluntary means what? First of all, voluntary means something which you are doing on your own. If you like it, you will do it. If you don't like it, you will not do it. So if you are doing it out of your choice, that I call it as voluntary. But tax is not a voluntary payment. Tax is a what? Tax is a non-voluntary payment. When I say non-voluntary, what do I mean by that is compulsory payment. Tax is a what? Compulsory payment paid under law. Paid under some law. If you are paying the tax, if you are making some compulsory payment, and that payment you are making it because of some law. And to whom you are paying these taxes? You are paying these taxes to the government. To whom you are paying the taxes? You are paying to the government. So the meaning of the taxes, it is a compulsory payment. It is a non-voluntary payment paid under some law to the government, that we are going to call it as tax. So like for example, if you are paying some income tax, if you are paying income tax, you are paying income tax not because of your voluntary choice. You are not paying the income tax because you have love and affection towards the country. You are paying income tax. Why? Because it has been made compulsory under respective law. Which law? Under Income Tax Act. To whom you are paying this taxation? To the government you are paying taxation. So tax is something which is a compulsory payment, which is a non-voluntary payment paid under some law to the government. That we are going to call it as what? A tax. See, for example, if you are making some compulsory payment, take for example, you are running a shop. You are running a shop in a market. Now there is one local rowdy. There is one what? Local rowdy. So he's a rowdy fellow. So every Saturday he's coming to you and he's demanding some mandatory payment from you. There is some rowdy. He's every day coming to you, and every weekend he's coming to you, and you have to pay him some mandatory amount. Every week you have to pay him 1,000 rupees. If you don't pay this 1,000 rupees to the rowdy, he will destroy your shop. So out of fear, it is compulsory. It is not choice. Rowdy has made it compulsory. That rowdy fellow has made it compulsory. Every month you have to pay me 1,000 rupees or else I will destroy your shop. See, this is also a compulsory payment. This is also what? Compulsory payment. You are owning a shop in a market and you are making one compulsory payment to this rowdy fellow. Every week 1,000 rupees you are paying. Can this compulsory payment be called as tax? No, this we can't call it as tax. Every compulsory payment is not tax. If you are making a payment of tax because of some law, under some legislative, under some law, then only we call it as tax. Understood? So if you are making payment to rowdy or some politician is there, he is threatening you. A politician in one particular area, he has kept a rule that every shopkeeper in that area, every month he has to pay him certain sum of money to the politician. Can that be called as a taxation? No, that is not taxation. Why? Because that might be a compulsory payment, but that is not being made under law. So tax is something which is a compulsory payment, which should be made under some law. And to whom you are making this payment, guys? To the government you are making this payment. To whom you are making the payment? To the government you are making the payment. Now, why government needs money? Why the government needs money from us? Because this country has to be run. No, the government has to run this country. When we say government has to run the country, they have to create infrastructure. How to create what do you mean by infrastructure? See, you need roads to travel. You need proper environment. You need some facilities in this society in order to make your business, in order to make a living. So who will provide this infrastructure? Government will provide this infrastructure. Who will lay the roads? Government will lay the roads. So who is constructing all this basic infrastructure, whatever we are living in? Government. So government has to provide infrastructure for you. And also government has to provide public safety. They have to provide the public safety for the citizens of the country. So how do they provide public safety? By providing police. They have to pay salaries to the police. They have to pay salary to the army. They have to pay salaries to the navy. So they have to incur all this expenditure. Yes or no? They have to take care of public health. They have to provide education for the people. So like this, government is having so many responsibilities to fulfill. They have to create infrastructure. They have to look after people's safety. They have to ensure law and order in the country. They have to provide health for the citizens of the country. They have to provide education for the people of the country. Now, government will need money for doing all these activities. No, government will need money for doing all these activities. Where the government will get the money from? Government will get the money only from taxation. So government is collecting the money. Government is collecting the tax from the people to provide services to the people only, which might not happen generally. Which will happen for the government. The last priority today is serving the public, but actual intention is what? Why you are paying taxes? The money of the citizens should be used for providing the facilities for the citizens. This is what should happen. So government will collect the money from the citizens of the country in order to provide infrastructure, in order to provide the safety, in order to provide the health, in order to provide the education, to pay the salaries to the police, to pay the salary to the army people, to pay the salary to the public servants like IAS, IPS officers. Who is paying salary for all these people? Out of our taxation, we are paying the salaries to all the armed forces. We are paying the salary to all the police. We are paying the salary to the navy. We are paying the salary to the collectors. We are paying the salary to the commissioners. Who is paying? We are paying. So that traffic police who will catch you if you are doing triple riding, who is paying that salary to the traffic police? You are only paying the salary to the traffic police, and you are getting afraid of it. See how crazy it is. So we are paying the money and we are getting afraid of these public servants only. So, but whatever it is, this is what the government needs the money for. This is what government needs the taxation. So government, for providing the services for the citizens, they are going to collect the money from the same citizens of the country. So that is what the purpose of the taxation. That is why the government will collect the taxation. So tax is a non-voluntary, that is a compulsory payment made under some law, and it is paid to government. Now, whatever taxes which the government is collecting, those taxes will be broadly divided into two categories, which we have already mentioned. So government is going to collect one kind of taxes called direct taxes, and the government is going to collect another kind of taxation called indirect taxes. Government will collect how many kinds of taxes? Two kinds of taxes it is going to collect. What are they? One is direct taxes and the other one is indirect taxes. So what are the main differences between the two? See, this you already know. This you are reading it from class 11, class 12 itself. So you have read so many times the differences between DT, IDT. You are all well versed with this. Can you share your insights regarding this? Can you share your valuable information, whatever you have learned as a part of your earlier education? What are the main differences between direct taxes and indirect taxes? So first, we already know the examples. First, let us write the examples which we already know. Direct tax. One of the example of the direct tax is income tax. So one of the example for indirect taxes is GST. But what is difference? I gave examples. What is the difference? Difference is, in the case of direct taxes, the incidence of taxation cannot be passed on to another person. That means whoever is paying the tax, the same person will feel the pain of it. You can't shift the burden of income tax to others. So direct taxes are those taxes where incidence of the taxation, where the burden of taxation, where the pain of paying the tax is on the taxpayer. The burden of taxation cannot be shifted onto another person. That we call it as direct taxation. Whereas when it comes to indirect taxation, here incidence of taxation can be shifted. What will happen here? Incidence of taxation will be shifted. That means whoever is paying the tax, that person is not going to bear the tax. The tax burden will be shifted onto another person who is generally the ultimate customer, final consumer. So the main point of difference between direct taxes and indirect taxes is, in the case of direct taxes, incidence of tax, burden of tax can be passed on to another person. Sorry, it cannot be passed on to another person. In the case of direct taxes, incidence of tax, burden of tax can't be passed on to another person. But when it comes to indirect taxes, the burden can be passed on to another person. The person, whoever is paying the tax, the same person is not feeling the burden of it. That burden will be passed on to another person. That is the main point of difference between direct taxes and indirect taxes. See, let us try to understand the difference between direct taxes and indirect taxes with the help of example. Let us try to understand the differences between direct taxes and indirect taxes with an example. Assume there is a hotel. So there is one hotel. This hotel is serving different kinds of foods. Okay. So now an individual customer is there. So this customer went to the hotel, ordered some food. You have ordered your favorite food. So now when you pay the bill, when you get the bill from the hotel management, have you seen the bill once? So next time when you see the bill, please pay attention to the complete bill. See, at the end of the bill, you are able to see that the price is 550 rupees. The price is 550 rupees at the end of the bill. But if you come a little bit upwards, so now you will find something called GST. You will find something like CGST, SGST. An example I am saying. So 25 rupees CGST, 25 rupees SGST. Now price of the food will be there. For example, you ate some food, like you ate some roti. So roti is 200 rupees. Along with that, you ate some paneer. So that food is some 200 rupees. Along with that, you had some breakfast. So some breakfast also you had. For that, the price is 100. So the cost of the food is 200, 100 and another 200 and 100. 500 is the cost of the food. And whatever 25 rupees extra that you are paying, that is 25 and 25. Whatever 50 rupees extra you are paying, that is taxation. That is GST. So now you will pay to the hotel how much? The waiter has brought you the bill. In that bill, 550 rupees is there. And if you have seen the breakup of the bill, in that bill you are able to see the cost of the food is 500. 50 rupees is taxation. How much you will pay to the hotel? You will pay to the hotel management 550 rupees. You will pay to the hotel. 550 rupees you will pay to hotel. Now, out of this 550 rupees which you pay to the hotel, 500 rupees the manager will keep it in his cash box. Whereas this extra 50 rupees, whatever he has collected, that he will go and pay it to the government. What he will do to that extra 50 rupees, whatever he has collected from you, that 50 rupees will be paid to whom? Government. So here the hotel management, the owner of this hotel is paying 50 rupees of tax to the government. Who is the taxpayer here? Hotel manager, hotel owner is a taxpayer. How much GST has paid to the government? 50 rupees he has paid to the government. So taxpayer of this 50 rupees of GST is who? Hotel owner. But is he feeling the burden of it? Is he paying this 50 rupees of tax to the government out of his own pocket? No. The owner of the hotel is not paying this 50 rupees of this GST to the government, not from his own pocket. But in fact, you have collected it from the customer. This hotel owner has collected it from customer. If you are that final customer, if you are the person who ate your food on the hotel, you are the person who paid that 50 rupees to the hotel owner, and the hotel owner paid it to government. So that's what I told. In the case of indirect taxes, the taxpayer will shift the burden. He might be paying the tax to the government, but he will not be paying the money from his own pocket. He is collecting it from the final customer, paying it to the government. So in the case of indirect taxation, incidence of tax, burden of tax will be shifted. Now this hotel owner, he is making lot of sales in the entire year. So he's making lot of sale of the food. Now he'll make lot of money out of it. Now assume that by running this hotel, this person has made a total revenue of some 25 lakh rupees of revenue he has made. How much revenue he has made? 25 lakh rupees of revenue. For that he incurred some expenses, some 10 lakh rupees of expenses he has incurred. Now on this, if you take this 10 lakhs, he has made a profit of somewhere around 15 lakh rupees. Now on this 15 lakh rupees, you have to pay the income tax. On whatever money you have made, on whatever profit you have made, on whatever wealth you have created. So on this 15 lakh rupees, which the hotel owner has made from running this hotel, on this you have to pay the income tax. Assume that this person's tax liability is 1 lakh rupees. Now this income tax, whatever this hotel owner is paying, this hotel owner has to pay this 1 lakh rupees of tax from his own pocket. Which tax? Income tax. So now you can't shift this 1 lakh rupees of tax burden on somebody else. Income tax is a direct taxation. In the case of direct taxation, you can't shift the burden onto somebody else. So here hotel owner is paying 1 lakh rupees of income tax and this is paying from his own pocket. So here you will have the direct pain. While paying income taxes, you will feel that pain. Why? Because you have to pay the money from your pocket. But when it comes to indirect taxation, the person whoever is paying the tax, he will not have any pinch. He will not have any pain. Why? Because even though he is paying the tax, he is not paying money from his own pocket. He is shifting the burden onto somebody else. And that ultimate person who is going to have the burden of the taxes, common man like you and me. The common consumer like you and me, you and I, the final consumers like us, we are the persons who are paying this GST and all the indirect taxes. We are paying it. But income tax, the direct whoever is, in case of income tax, the person whoever is paying income tax, the same person will have to face the burden. And when we look from the government perspective, from the income taxes, for the financial year 2022-23, the government has collected income taxes. The gross collections were 19.68 lakh crores. What is the total income tax collection? What is the total direct tax collection for the government? For the financial year 2022-23, 19.68 lakh crores they have collected from which taxation? Income tax. But when it comes to GST, for the financial year 2022-23, they have collected somewhere around 18.1 lakh crores of money in the form of GST. The government has collected 18.1 lakh crores in the form of GST, whereas they have collected 19.68 lakh crores of revenue from income taxes. And who paid this 18.1 lakh crores of GST to the government? You and me. An ordinary customer like you and me, we all together, 120 crores of population of this country, each and every one of us have contributed to this 18.1 lakh crores of revenue. But whatever this income tax collections were there, which are 19.68 lakh crores of income tax collection, this was contributed by hardly 10% of the total population. Which was contributed hardly by whom? 10% of the population of the country. Hardly 10% of the India's population, around 10 crores of population, they have paid 19.68 lakh crores of income tax to the government. Whereas each and every one of you, like you and me, we everybody, whenever we are buying any good, whenever we are buying any service, whenever we are going to the shop and buying some product, each and every one of you, without even our awareness, we everybody have contributed some amount of money, and the total how much we have contributed? 18.1 lakh crore rupees of money we have contributed. In this contribution, your share is there, my share is there, your parents' share is there, your relative share is there, our society's share is there. We each and every one of us have contributed for 18.1 lakh crore. Every time you go and buy a product, you are paying tax. Like for example, you went to the hotel, ate a food there, paid the bill. In that bill, GST is included. You went to some supermarket, bought your daily essentials like soap, shampoo, these things you have bought. On that also you have paid the GST. You have went to the shop and bought a chocolate for eating. On that also you have paid the GST. You have bought a mobile phone. On that mobile phone also you have paid the GST. You went to the shop, bought a computer. On that also you have paid the GST. You have made lot of money. You bought a car. On that also you have paid the GST. So even without our awareness, we have contributed this much amount of money. So let me show you some examples here. See, assume that I have here some few tax invoices. So if you went to the shopping, and made some shopping in the store, see here, if you have bought some product, like here, I don't know whether you are able to see it or not. It is a little bit not clear, but still I hope it is visible. So if you went to the store, if you went to the supermarket, D-Mart, and you bought some Tata tea, and you have paid some 280 rupees. This 280 rupees is not directly going to the D-Mart. Out of that, some 5% of taxation is there. Some 5% GST is there. So that 5% you have paid to the government. By paying 280 rupees to the D-Mart for buying some tea or coffee, you have paid some taxation to the government. So similarly, you bought some other things. Like for example, you have bought some parachute oil. So by paying 71 rupees, in that also some GST is there. You have paid some GST in the 71. By paying 71, you are paying some tax to the government. Or you take here a few more products, like you have bought some Nescafe. So on this, you have paid total of 18% of GST, 9% plus 9%. You have paid 142 rupees for the coffee, but not 142 rupees totally is going to the D-Mart. Out of that, you are paying even tax also, some 18% tax you have paid on this. So you have bought some other item, like for example, let us see one more item. You have bought some battery. You have bought some Eveready battery, and you have paid some 125 rupees. In this 125 rupees also 9% taxation is there. So next time when you go to the store, when you go to supermarket, check the bill once. In each and every item you are paying some, you are contributing to the government in the form of payment of GST. Or assume that you have bought some mobile phone. You have bought some mobile phone. Assume I have bought some iPhone here. So I am paying somewhere around 66,911 rupees for buying an iPhone. But if you observe the breakup here, in this 66,000 rupees or somewhere around 67,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees of taxation is there. See here, this is the GST component. How much taxation is there? 10,000. Out of this 67,000 of the price of the phone which I have bought, 10,000 rupees is tax only. The cost of the product is ultimately 57,000. 10,000 is in the form of what? Taxation only. If I have made lot of money, if I bought a car, see here, in the car, no, there is one interesting thing to observe. See, they say X showroom value. If you see here, X showroom value for Kia Seltos is 13,79,000 rupees. But if you see here, in that, the net value is just a 9,50,000, and in that, in the remaining 4.5 lakh rupees of money, that is only taxes you are paying. You buy a car, out of if you are paying 13,79,000, assume this 14 lakh rupees you are paying it to the showroom. You are not paying entire 14 lakhs for the showroom. 9.5 lakhs is the cost of the car. You have paid 4.5 lakhs in the form of taxes. See here, 14% CGST, 14% SGST, totally 28% of taxation on the car. Along with that, some 17% of the cess. Cess is also kind of taxation, which we will talk about it later. So if you bought 15 lakhs worth of car, you are paying 5 lakhs in the form of taxes only. The cost of the car is 10 lakh rupees only. But you have paid how much? 5 lakh rupees in the form of taxation. If you are buying car worth 30 lakh rupees, out of that 10 lakh rupees you will be paying only in the form of taxation. 20 lakhs only will be the price of the car. Understood everybody? So you do whatever things, you buy goods, you receive services, on each and everything we are paying an GST, and GST is one of the major indirect taxes source revenue for the government. Able to understand everybody? So these are the two kinds of taxation, direct taxes and indirect taxes, and these are the few points of difference. Few more points of difference I will say. So one, we have seen incidence of taxation. Other one is, one more point of difference here is, one is regressive in nature, other one is progressive in nature. Which one is progressive in nature? Direct taxation is progressive in nature. Direct taxation is what? Progressive in nature, whereas indirect taxation is regressive in nature. Sir, what do you mean by progressive, regressive? See, when I say progressive, progressive means if you make more money, more taxes you have to pay. Like for example, as you all are aware, in the Income Tax Act, there are basic exemption limits. If you are making, as per old regime, if you are making up to 2.5 lakh rupees of income, you are not required to pay any tax. If you make 2.5 lakhs to 5 lakh rupees, you are required to pay some 5% of tax. 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, some 20% you have to pay. 10 lakhs, more than 10 lakhs, you have to pay 30% of tax. So the more income you are making, the more income tax you are paying. So if you are making less income, you are required to pay less amount of tax. So that's why we call direct taxes is progressive in nature. More a person is growing, the more the person is making a progress, more tax he will pay. You are making less progress, you are making less amount of money, you will make less payment of taxes. Understood everybody? But indirect taxes is regressive in nature. What do you mean by regressive in nature? Regressive in nature means whether you make the money, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether you are a billionaire, whether you are staying in the slum, that doesn't matter. Each and every person has to pay the GST. Regressive in nature. Rich person also will pay the same GST. Poor person also will pay the same GST. So that is what the meaning of this regressive in nature. Like for example, if I go and buy, like I have shown you this bill. If I go to the store and buy some essential product, for example, I'm buying this Tata tea. If a rich person, if Ambani goes and buy this Tata tea, he also will pay the same amount of GST. If I go and buy the Tata tea from the store, I also will pay the same GST. So irrespective of income of the person, irrespective of money made by the person, irrespective of the status of the person, every person has to make the same amount of GST payment. So that's why we call GST or indirect taxes are regressive in nature. So these are the main points of difference between direct taxes and indirect taxes. I hope everybody is able to understand. Clear everybody? So what we have understood till now, we understood what is the meaning of the taxation. We understood what are the differences between DT and IDT. What are the differences between direct taxes and indirect taxes. And as I have told, direct tax is not a subject matter for us. I'm not going to deal with the direct taxes. I'm going to deal with this other small part of indirect taxes. And in that indirect taxes also, I have told different kinds of indirect taxes are there. Broadly 3 indirect taxes are there. We have GST, customs and FTP. But at CA inter level, our main focus is only and only on GST. We are not going to focus on customs. That we will try to learn it at the CA final level. Clear everybody? So since we understood the differences between direct taxes and indirect taxes, now we will focus more on GST. So let us try to understand what is the meaning of the term GST. What is the definition of the term GST? So GST, the title itself says Goods and Services Tax. What is the full form of GST? Goods and Services Tax. So GST means it is a tax on supply of, is a tax on supply of goods or services or both. What is GST? It is a tax which is levied on supply of goods, services or both. So if I am providing goods, so if I am having any goods like a phone is a good, a mobile phone is a good, a water bottle is a good, a pen is a good, a tab is a good, a mouse is a good, a vegetable is a good. Yes or no? So like that, if there are any goods, on that if a tax is getting levied, or on services if any tax is getting levied, for example, software services, some software engineer is there, he is providing some services. So on that services if any tax is levied, or I am a tutor, I am providing you education services, on this if a tax is levied, or both, if I am providing goods also, if I am providing services also. Like for example, I am a tutor, I am coaching, I am providing education services. Along with that, I am also having some other business of selling mobile phones, or I am having some other business of selling garments. I am selling garments, I am selling some ready-made garments. So on providing this goods and services or both, if any tax is levied, that tax we are going to call it as GST. So what is the meaning of the GST, guys? A tax on supply of goods, services or both. So tax which is getting levied on goods, services or both. See, take for example, I'm a manufacturer, or I'm having a business. I'm having a business of selling goods. For example, I'm selling ready-made garments. I have opened a store. So M Enterprises. So I have opened a ready-made store. In that ready-made store, my store is full of stock. I'm having a lot of goods in that store. I'm having so many shirts, I'm having so many trousers, and I'm having so many garments in my shop. So there are so many goods in my store. So just because if my shop is full of goods, and tax will be levied automatically. I'm having goods, I have opened a shop. In my shop, I have loaded my shop with all the goods. I have bought shirts, I have bought trousers, I have bought all other accessories. My shop is full of goods. Just because in my shop goods are there, just because in my shop I have loaded my shop with goods, will the government come and levy the tax on me? No. If I am having services, for example, I know how to teach. Just because I know how to teach, will the government will ask me to pay the tax? A doctor is there, a doctor know how to treat the patients, will the government will come and ask the tax from him? A lawyer is there. He knows how to fight the case. Will the government will come and impose a tax on him? A software engineer is there. He knows how to provide the software services. Will the government come and impose tax on him? Or if I am a shop, if I am owning a shop, my shop is full of mobile phones. I have bought some 100 mobile phone devices. Will the government will come and impose a tax on me? No, just having goods and services will not attract GST. Some activity should happen regarding that goods and services. Some activity should happen regarding that goods and services. Like for example, if I have opened a garment store, if in my store there are full of clothes, now when I sell that clothes, when I exchange that clothes, when I transfer that clothes, then the tax will be levied. Just because I have the goods, that will not make the government to come and impose a tax on me. When I sell the goods, when I do some activity regarding the goods like sale, transfer, exchange. For example, I am running a mobile store. If I am taking the old mobile and giving a new mobile, if I am running a laptop store, if I am taking the old mobile or giving a new mobile, or if I am selling a laptop to the customer who has come to me, when that activity happens, then only government will come and impose a tax on me. Or services, take for example, I know how to teach. I have recorded all the lectures, but I did not sell it. I did not provide the access of any lecture to any of the student. Will the government come and impose a tax on me? No. When the government will come and impose a tax on me, if I announce a batch, if I call all you to that batch and I am teaching you, collecting the money from you, then the government will come and impose me the tax? No. Just I have recorded the lectures, kept in my laptop, kept in my hard disk. I did not give access to anybody. Am I required to pay the tax? No. So just having the goods, just having the services will not attract the taxes. Some activity should happen. The activity like sale, the activity like transfer, the activity like providing of the services, the activity like exchange, some activity should take place regarding the goods, regarding the services, then only tax will be attracted. So when some activity takes place regarding the goods or services, then only the tax will be levied, then only tax will be imposed, and that activity in the GST we call it as supply. What is that we call it? Supply we call it. So when some activity you are doing regarding goods, when you are doing regarding services, or both, when you provide some activity regarding goods, services, or both, then the GST will be imposed, and that activity which we are doing regarding goods, services, or both, that we are going to call it as supply. That we are going to call it as what? Supply. So for GST to get imposed, first there should be some goods, or there should be some services, or there should be some both. But just having the goods, services, or both alone will not be enough. There should be supply. What should be there? There should be supply of goods, services, or both, then only will be GST attracted. So what are the two essential things for the GST to get imposed? There should be existence of goods, services, or both, and those goods must be supplied. Those goods must be supplied. Is you understood, everybody? So you got to understand one thing: when goods are there, when the supply of goods happen, or when services are there, when the supply of services happen, then the GST will be imposed. Is it really true? So when you are going and buying any goods, when you are going and receiving any services, is GST imposed on you? For example, in your street you are staying, there is one small vegetable shop. There is some small vegetable shop. From that vegetable shop, you have bought some 1 kg of tomatoes. There is one vegetable store in your area, in your street. There is a vegetable store. You went to that store and you bought 1 kg of tomato. And 1 kg of tomato had costed you some 30 rupees. Now on this 30 rupees also, are you paying GST? On this 30 rupees also, are you paying GST when you buy the vegetables? Or you went to that some milk vendor, you bought a packet of milk, paid that 30 rupees. On that also you are paying GST. Do you think you are paying on this 30 rupees also some 10% taxation? 33 rupees are you paying? Or in your street there is one small barber. You went there, had a haircut, and he charged you 10 rupees. On that also, are you paying 10% of GST? Sir, why sir? You just now told when goods are there, when services are there, or when both are there, and when you supply them, a tax will be attracted. Now you are buying the goods, a supply of goods is happening. You are getting supplied tomatoes, vegetables, but you are not paying GST. You are getting supplied some milk, you are not paying GST. You are going and getting a haircut from a small dealer, from a small barber shop. There also you are not paying GST. Sir, but just now you told when goods are there, services are there, when both are there, when supply happens, you have to pay GST. No, sir, but I'm not paying GST on all this. So one thing you have to make sure here, not supply of every good, every service, or every good or service will not attract GST. Every supply of good, every supply of service will not attract GST. Why? Because government's objective is not only to collect revenue. Government is not just existing only to collect revenue. And it is unfair to charge a tax on each and every item. See, the one of the responsibility of the government is to fulfill the requirements of its citizens also. Now, when you say, hey, on your essential products also, I will charge GST. On your essential products also, I will charge GST. If you go and buy the vegetables, on that also you have to pay GST. If you go and buy the fruits, on that also you have to pay GST. If you go and buy the milk or dairy products, on that also you have to pay GST. Now, don't you think it is going to be a burden on each and every citizen? A common man will suffer or not? And government is not there existing only to collect revenue. Government has to take care of the citizens' requirement also. So in respect to keeping these things in mind, what the government has done is they have exempted certain products or services from GST. So supply of every good and service will not attract GST. Government has also exempted some goods or some services. If they are getting supplied, you need not pay the GST on that. So supply of every good, every service will not attract GST. Government has exempted certain customers, certain products. And not just that, you can't impose tax burden on small suppliers. Small traders will be there. Like I told, a small barber is there. On a year, on an average per year, he might make some 2.5 lakhs of turnover. A small barber store is there. Only one chair, one barber is there sitting. If you go to him and also say, hey, whatever services you are providing, on that also you have to charge GST. That will be unfair or not? Even government has realized that. So we should not bother small traders also from all this tax compliances and tax burdens. So even small payers also are not, small business persons also are not required to pay the GST. So only certain business person who do a significant amount of business, they are only required to collect the GST. That's why when you go and receive some services, when you go and buy the goods from small shops in your locality, you're not paying GST on that. Why? Because government has told that we don't want all the small businesses to suffer. If a business is doing certain amount of turnover, if the business person is doing certain amount of business, then only we'll charge a GST. So here I would like to introduce one term here. Not every business person will collect GST. Only those business persons who are registered. We call them as what? Registered persons. Only registered persons will collect GST. Only registered persons will collect GST. So first, supply goods should be there, services should be there, and supply of that goods and services should happen, and those goods and services should not have been exempted, and those goods and services should have been supplied by a registered person. Sir, who will be registered person, sir? When do we call a person as registered person, or when a person will become liable for registration? All this we will talk about it. See, each and everything I am telling you is a chapter here. So first, goods should be there or services should be there. Supply of that goods or services should happen. That goods or services should not have been exempted, and that goods or services should have been provided, should have been supplied by such a business person who should be registered. We call him as what? Registered person. Understood, everybody? So these all essential things must be there. So you should have goods or services, supply should happen, it should not fall in exemption, and there should be a registered person. And once that person is a registered person, and once the goods and services are not exempted, now he will start collecting taxes. Now he will start what? Collecting taxes. Understood, everybody? Clear, everybody? So these all things should be present for GST to be collected. So tell me the meaning of GST, guys. The tax which is levied on goods, services, or both, for the supply of goods and services, or both. Understood, everybody? And GST is one of the biggest taxation which is currently getting levied in our country. Understood, everybody? So we will stop our discussion with this. Remaining discussion will continue in our next session. Hope you all are able to understand the sessions clearly. So there is a lot of interesting discussion waiting for us to be covered in our subsequent lectures, that we will keep it for our subsequent lectures. Clear everybody guys? Hope you guys have enjoyed the session. Take care. See you in the next class. Bye.